Hey guys, welcome to Blackbird. This is our second video on the N word. Today we're going to be talking about pros and cons of the use of the word nigga in social media and whatnot. So that's what we're talking about today. Today you got Joe here,
What up, niggas?
Ashley, me, Mike and Elizabeth are here, but they're just going to be listening for this one so that they can contribute for our next video where we do our wrap up. And yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. And Ashley is going to do our housekeeping stuff for you guys.
Perfect. So don't forget to interact with us on this video as well as our Facebook page. The link for that is right down below. Other links down below will also be things that are referenced to the video. So if you have any other questions, again, drop us a line. Megan is happy to answer any questions. Also, you can interact with other viewers. So that's pretty exciting.
Great stuff. So let's just jump into it. Where do we want to start? I guess since I feel like I'm more anti than my fellows here, we'll start with the pros of reclaiming the word nigga.
Well, I'm just gonna say it for me. I don't know. How do I want to put this? I think it's great for the community to reclaim it because it's just taking, you say nigger and it elicits such um and it's an experience just to have somebody call you that is such a negative experience because it brings up your heritage, what people have had to fight for in order to just get basic freedoms to be, you know, thought of as not even a peer, but just as somebody who's free to think. And even that, black freedom, even to this day, is not all the freedom that we wish we had. Uh, but that being said, being called a nigger is just so terrible. And I think it's great in community wise that we can take that and use it as, although varied it can be, because even within the community, the nigga version can still be derogatory if intended, but for the most part, it's just a term of reference. Hey, what's up, my nigga? How you doing, nigga? Look at that nigga. You know what
Like
I'm
a
saying?
term of like a camaraderie, like
Yeah, yeah,
you're associating with something that you recognize and connecting to it.
absolutely. And with that, I think that's a beautiful thing. But again, that's in the community. I don't care how down you are. I don't care if you were raised by black people. If you white, yeah, just stay away from that. I don't care if you know how to use it. All you listen to is rap, and you could hang out with Lil Wayne himself. He could give you the ghetto pass, but that's not good enough. Just don't. Community word. But pros, it's liberating. It's for us. It I can't really. Actually, what is your thought on it? Just because I can't really articulate it the way I would like to.
I mean, so for me, I grew up in my family, like all of my uncles, my aunts, kind of everybody used it. It wasn't something that was thrown around all the time, but I grew up hearing the word. Um, and I would say not really in my house. Like I sort of remember my dad throwing it around, but it was pretty much my younger uncles, my mom's brothers, who kind of said it. So I feel like it was when they grew up rather when the term was really blowing up in the 80s and like really kind of coming to their own and hearing it in the music and hearing it a lot. Or my dad is a little bit older, so he definitely wasn't, I don't think, in a place or time to be exposed to it the way that they were, or kind of have for it to have the same effect. But for me personally, I mean, if you feel like it's a word that you want to use, I probably use it a handful of times a year, every blue moon. Like It's not
Oh
like I
wow.
restrict myself from saying it, but I really don't see anybody, even in a work situation. Like, I don't work with a lot of people of color. Like, I just don't. Like, when I did work, I haven't worked in a while, but when I did work, it wasn't really, I didn't work in environments where it was predominantly Black, so I never would have used that in front of coworkers, like, at all. Just because
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want to use this, and you think you have a pass for it. Even though I want to say it, I'm not going to say it. I mean, I'm comfortable saying it. I feel like anybody else who wants to say it should be able to say it, because reclaiming it, like you said, Joe, it really gives the power. Like, we hold the power. I feel like we earned it. I mean, plain and simple, we earned it. Like, if you
Right.
don't want to use it, no harm, no foul. You don't have to use it. If you feel like it is something that empowers you and that gives you that strength, then by all means, use it. Those are
And,
my views.
can I jump back on that? I guess for me in my personal experience, like so when my mom left my dad, like truly left my dad, you know what I'm saying? My identity, because I mean, I got a black mama, so I didn't identify as a white kid growing up. Certainly my peers damn sure made sure I knew that I wasn't a white kid. They knew I wasn't Hispanic or whatever. So it's like, I remember this one black kid told me, it's like, man, you us, bro. It's like, look, they gonna hate you regardless. They hate you like they hate me. Doesn't matter if you half white, you know, you half wrong to them. Is
Yep.
basically what he was told, you know. And so, in that, I embraced my black heritage even more. All I really grew up knowing is the black side of my family, out in Marshall or whatever, all my cousins, family functions, black churches, how to barbecue, eating good, chitlins, collard greens, cornbread, out in the country. Like, I mean, and this is a time where we grew up in the country, like Marshall, Texas, but it was like on the fringe of Marshall. So we were out in the sticks. So really wasn't nobody around. And yeah, I heard my uncles and stuff like that use it from time to time. But when I came into my teenage years or whatever, that kind of, you know, brought it with the music that I listened to and my own personal experience. I just felt more, as you said, empowered to not only to be able to use it, but to be able to use it and feel good about it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
It's like a way that I was representing my black heritage. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
so
well,
yeah, I was just gonna ask, like for you, Joe, and like I mean you Ashley too. Like for y'all, is being able to use the word, you're talking about like it being empowering. Does it, I guess, do you feel like the fact that you can say it, you can call other people nigga or whatever, um, bring you like closer into like the black community? Like I can use it and I'm black and I'm so black that I can throw it around. Is
well,
that
I just
I mean, I personally wouldn't say that, because, again, I use it in regards to like super close people. I mean, it's just not, it's, for me, it's not a term that I throw around lightly all the time, every day. Like,
I'm sorry, I don't mean throw around, but like use like when you talk.
no,
Casually.
I mean,
Maybe casually is the word I want.
for me, I would almost use it, like, I use it with people kind of in the sense where, so if you have, like, some people have female friends, or some women have female friends, and they call each other bitch, and it's just a different kind of, like, if someone else called them a bitch, then it would be a problem. But I don't know, like, for me, it's more relational.
Hmm.
Like, it doesn't have, I don't think about it as, ooh, like, I'm saying a word that nobody else, like, it, for me, it's not that. I don't know, I don't feel like I'm keeping it to myself, because I know other black people are using it, but I use it more for, I guess, relational like context of knowing somebody in that way,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So like close personal relationships.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't like see a black person on the street that you didn't know and be like, "What's up, nigga?"
Yeah, probably not, but that's not me. I know Joe probably feels otherwise, but
It depends. Hey, it is absolutely relational, though. You know what
no,
I'm
no,
saying?
it's absolutely
But
relational.
the company I keep, yeah, normally I could probably go up to certain individuals and just be like that, and it would be like, nothing, you know what I'm saying, this, that, and the other, whatever. But on the cool, I really now drinking aside, because it was a real heavy rotation. The way I came up, doing the not so good things in my youth or whatever. A lot of my friends or so-called friends, a lot of the associates that I hung out with, it was thrown around like, you know, just a regular part, like, hey man, hey nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just what it was. It was just regular talk.
Mm.
So as I've grown older, my circle's grown tighter, you know what I mean? And outside of drinking, and depending on who I'm drinking with, because then it will fly again. But in these days, maybe my family will hear it. Uh, Funny thing is, and obviously my wife doesn't use the word, but will I will refer to people and use it around my wife all the time, just because I'm comfortable with her, and that's she knew a lot of the same people when I was living a different lifestyle, and use that. So she'll hear me say it a lot, not in front of my kids. I don't want them to. I don't want them to grow up thinking that that's a word to use, because even though I feel empowered by it, I think my circumstance is different, and you know, I want them to embrace their black heritage, but not everybody's gonna understand with that good hair and all that kind of stuff like that. And I don't want them to have to deal with all that there. But for me, like in the community, it just makes me feel accepted and part of the community. You know what I'm saying? And I have gotten those double looks, from because I'm not as dark. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, hey, I'm right here with you, man. You got a problem, and we just gonna have to settle that problem, because my experience is not much shorter than yours. You know what I'm saying? Don't let the Hispanic tone fool you. I don't get some great differential treatment because I'm a little lighter skinned.
Right.
Once they see that hair kink up, it's like, sir, Can you please step out of the car? But it's a registration, bro. What I do? You're being hostile. We're gonna need you to stick your hands out the window, open the door from the outside, and step out of the car. It's like, no, I get the same treatment, man. I get the
I
same
am
treatment.
very surprised though that you don't want your daughters to use it, because you are of a blended background and your daughters are also of a blended background. So like rearing aside and your experiences aside, like you have similarities. So if you feel like you're empowered to use it, why would you not want to give your children that same empowerment?
Well, they're four right now. That's how maybe it was out of context. They're four. They don't
That's
need to hear
fair,
that or
yeah.
know that right now. When they get to be older or whatever, and
Because I mean,
if,
they're gonna hear it. They're gonna be exposed to it. Like you can't.
if they choose to incorporate it in their vernacular, then that's on them.
Okay.
But I will let them know, and definitely, kids are smart in the way they do stuff. By the time then, I mean, that term may be some type of interracial, you know what I'm saying, won't have the magnitude as it does right now.
I
Just,
don't think that's gonna happen in 5 or 10 years
but
now.
but you get what
Like
I'm
they're
saying.
not
But
that. Like
Yeah.
they're like.
that is an extremely fast turnaround. I'll give you that. But what I'm saying is you know, I mean, you look at the way music's going, and just I mean, I wouldn't call it far fetched to say that there may be some blurred lines in that arena. You know what I'm saying? Not for me, because there's some things going on right now that I'm just old school stickler with stuff. But that being said, uh, I won't tell them that I don't think that they shouldn't use it. I just want them to be aware of it, and You
But
know,
you
as I
don't
grow older,
currently use the word in front of them.
do I currently use the word in front
Yeah.
of them? Not often, but
Okay.
it's
But you
not
don't make it a
directly.
you don't make it a point to kind of repress your usage around them. I guess
No,
is
no,
more
no.
the question.
I do. If they hear me, well, do they hear me say it? If I say it, I'm gonna try not to be within earshot or try to have them focused and paying attention to me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Have I said it around them? Yes. Have I said it to them, about them, or made sure that they were watching me say it? No, I don't. I don't want them to pick up on that. It's just like, do I cuss around my kids? Yeah, sometimes, but do I cuss at my kids? No. Do I want them to pick up those words right now? No. So I try to be appropriate in that. But yeah, I mean, I've listened to music, in certain times that has the word in there, but they're not picking up on it. And when they do, they're pretty good about asking questions. So I'll explain it. It's a bad word. Don't use it. And, you know, when they're old enough to understand, I'll pick it up from there. But yeah, again, and their experience is different than mine, because I'm going to educate them on the family history as much of it that I can bring about, and they know the white side of their family and they know the black side of their family, whereas they're coming from a two-parent home. I had my mama for the most part in the black side of my family, and it's to any of my white family members who may watch this video, it is not their fault. My dad basically didn't want anybody from his side of the family to interact with me and my sister. You know what I'm talking about? And so it took me to finally get. It took me to be able to find them, to be able to connect, and we are close as all get out. There's not a problem there. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make sure that that's out there. It's not like my white family abandoned me or what have you. My father just didn't allow us to get to interact and know them when I was coming up. So my identity was more towards the black side of my family, and that's what I know. That's how I came up, and I use the word. Like I said, the older I've gotten, the less I use it in everyday conversation. But am I a proponent of NIGGA? I will have to say yes. Yes, I am.
I think it's interesting that you said that you would tell your girls that it was a bad word.
I'm gonna say I have I want to before we get into that, Ashley,
No, right now, again,
do
for
you
the
say it
youth,
around your
for the
kids,
youth,
Ashley?
I mean,
not
I so rarely use it that honestly, if people that I use it around are absolutely.
just therefore. I would use it in. I would say that it's bad for the sense that I don't want them saying it at that age.
But you
And
understand that if you when especially when kids are young and you're attaching a label as heavy as bad, how that could affect them in the future as far as how they reflect on the word because bad is heavy for a kid.
well, I don't know. I was told that all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I was told cuss words was bad. It didn't stop me from cussing. You know what I'm saying? When I got of age, if anything, it just told me not to cuss around my mom. You know what I'm saying?
But to be fair, a lot of curse words don't carry sometimes the shame that you're talking about as it relates to race issues, I feel like, because nigga is a word that's tied to race and
Absolutely.
then folding back into it and associating that
But
with
they don't know that
bad.
yet. They don't know that yet.
No, no,
And
no. And I
it,
understand. I'm just curious. I'm just really curious.
no,
Well,
so
but I feel like all of this right now is hypothetical, right? Like you
Of
haven't had this
course.
yeah, no, that's
conversation,
what I'm
right?
saying. My thing is just from an age point of they're 4 years old. If they hear it and repeat it, I just don't want them to repeat it. So maybe I will change it to that's adult language. It's not meant for you to say at this time. But I just don't want them to be repeating that out in public. At their age, and that's the only thing with that. Do I do I think that it's bad when they're grown enough to use adult language? If they want to use it, use it. No, by all means. You know what I'm saying? But I will make sure that they're educated about the history, derivatives, where it comes from, exactly how this series is going. They will get all that information. You know what I mean? But I may have been taken out of context. I'm just thinking about a child, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old using that, because even in say your boys or whatever who are older than my kids, if
Okay.
you had a video of them using it or whatever, I'd be like, you know what I'm saying?
No, my
Because I
boys
just
are
think,
2 and 3.
Yeah, that's it.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, I
I
did
have
not.
babies. I
Oh,
have
yeah, you
tiny
do.
babies.
I thought your. I apologize. I thought your children were older than mine.
No,
But
I have a two
let's
year
say that
old.
there was, and you can go to YouTube and see it. Just like hood star parents that
Well, but I mean, I listen to music with the word in it, and they may hear me say it a few times a year. I just don't use it that much. Like I don't. I
right.
have so I mean, they're parents. If they were to repeat it, they were to repeat it. Like I would educate them on what it means in an appropriate way for their age.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as most other things, my both my children went through fuck. Like they like had a month where that was every other word out of their mouth. And that's my fault. Show is.
Wow.
I will take full responsibility for that. Like they said it all the time. But again, like I didn't treat it as a bad word. It's like one of those things like it don't feed the behaviors that you want more of. So I just didn't really feed it. And
I'm glad that worked for you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I mean every situation is different. So
Right. Right. Everything. Yeah. But no, for the most part, they don't pick up a whole bunch of things that I either listen to or say, but it's not said enough by me in front of them to pick up on. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? Not at this time, because I try not to have them around when I'm hanging around. You know, people that I would be speaking like that. You know what I mean? So, and the music is here and there. I'll probably turn it down, so they probably don't hear it as much as they have the opportunity to. But that being said, I still, yeah, when I'm with my people, family included to a certain degree, yeah, I use it, and it makes me feel empowered, closer to my black identity, as well as like accepted in the community, because that's been a big thing for me in my experience, is accepted in the community. So, and I guess using that word makes me feel accepted.
Fair. I guess is it my turn now? Okay. So, I am not a fan of the word. I don't like it being used in music. Um, but I'm along those lines. It's like I don't like when rappers or musicians call women bitches and hoes. The same way I don't like to hear nigga thrown around in lyrics. I just don't like it. It's offensive to me. Um, I feel like there's so many words out there. If you're a real artist, you can figure out another way to get your point across. Um, Personal opinion. Um, in my family, my parents are older. They're in their 60s. They didn't use that word. We did not hear that word in my house. The only time I think we maybe heard it was like maybe when we were in New Orleans, and um it was not a friendly term. It is not something that like my uncles or my aunts or anybody called their friend. It was like this stupid nigga right here. Like this person is ignorant, this person is dumb, this person is like hood rat, like uncouth, unsocial, like it wasn't a nice term. It's not a term that they ever used friendly with anybody. If anybody in my family called you a nigga, it's not nice.
Fighting words.
Huh?
Said fighting words.
Fighting words,
mm,
yes. um, so and maybe that's why like that's the view that I have, is that it's always been like that. And so for me, it is like a bad word. It just like I don't, and even like Joe sometimes will cool like will be like, hey, and I'm like, nope, Joe, nope, I'm not. I love you dearly. Don't call me that. um, because that's just like I find the term offensive. Um, and I think as like sort of my point of it is that like black culture is so like infamous for like making up words. Like, why don't we just make up a word? Like, why do we have to reclaim a word? Why can't we just make up a word that is ours, that is empowering, that nobody else uses, if that's what we want? Like, why do we have to reclaim the word? Because I feel like the whole process of reclaiming it comes with all these rules. There's so many rules around like when to use it and who you can use it with and how is somebody going to take it. And like, even though like when Joe has called me that, I know he's not being offensive. I know that that's like when Joe says, "Hey, what's up, my nigga?" to me, that he doesn't mean like that. That he's not calling me stupid or ignorant. That that's not his connotation. But language, and it's in one of our links below. A lot of language is not intent but perception. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not what Joe intends to say. It's how I feel when he says it,
Mm-hmm.
or how the person who you're saying it to feels. And I feel with the word nigger, there's so much, there's like the range of reaction is so wide. Like, why use it? Like, why? Like, just for me, like, I don't see the point. Like, let's just do something else. If you don't know how somebody's gonna react, let's just not. Um,
I would say though, like, so if you're talking about words that would, or I guess a name that would, or some a term of endearment that was just for people of color, black people to use amongst each other, I feel like it would still go the same route. You would still have people who feel like they can use it because they have a black, like it all, I feel like it would just kind of go in the same circles again. So it's like, yeah, create a new word,
mm,
fine, but then you're still going to have the issue of the who can say it, who you feel comfortable, because it is not, it's FUBU. It's for us, by us.
or
It's not for everybody. It doesn't matter what we call each other. If it's
Right.
for the community, it's for the community, and we're going to run into the same issues.
mm.
So, like, you're just going to have the headache and the frustration of having to explain, you can't say that
Well,
because
I
you
guess I
aren't.
feel like if the community came up with a word and it was our word, then I think there would be like one understanding of what the word meant, right? Like I'm telling you guys, in my family, it's not a nice word, and y'all are saying like it was not used that way in your family, like it was a term of endearment or brotherhood or sisterhood.
It has a variety of uses or what have
Absolutely, because it could be derogatory when my family used it.
Mm.
you. Yeah.
It could absolutely be derogatory. It wasn't always a term of brotherly love and endearment, just like in a lot, like some of the music. Like they're not calling dudes niggas because they're great and they're best friends and they, went on a long walk on the beach. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not always a term of endearment.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
Oh,
So I
no,
just feel like why recreate the wheel?
and Megan, I want to let you know so I can wholeheartedly understand where you're coming from because you know my issue, what they have deemed the correct way to identify me as a black and white person, calling me a mulatto. Now, amongst mixed people, most of them, well, it's finally come to light that it's starting to be regarded as a derogatory term.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like for like I know like you growing up it wasn't, but like I feel like when I was growing up you didn't call anybody that.
No, it's all, to me, I've always known it as a derogatory term.
yeah, I didn't even I didn't even know what a mulatto was till I was like 15, 16. Then I was like, well, where did this come from? And I did the research. So I was like, oh my God. The
Anyway.
mulatto is just as bad as the hard R of nigger to me. That's
Yeah.
just to me. Uh, and it's not far removed, in the sense that I think they came up with that as intentional hurtfulness. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? To say, oh well, it's just like a horse and a donkey. You get a mule. They can't procreate or anything like that. It's just it seems very intentional hurt, and I can see exactly where you're coming from, Megan, in all aspects of use of nigger, nigga, or whatever. That it elicits a response, no matter you know. But in the community, I think whether you condone it or not, you understand its usage. You know what I'm saying? And you can identify when, in what context that it's being used. Yeah, and certainly, I know I'm hard headed, Megan, and I will do my best to continue to not use that in our interactions with each other or what have you, because I know how you feel. But you do understand the way that it's used, though. I mean, you understand the context and everything, right?
Yeah,
Whether
because
you
you
agree or
said,
disagree.
yo, you know that he doesn't mean any ill will. You just
Yeah.
don't appreciate the term.
I mean, but any conversation, whether I'm in it or not, like let's just say she was on, you know, MLK and somewhere down on 45, MLK and Bonneview or something. You know what I'm saying? and
Damn. You went there.
no, it's an area where you would run across conversations. You know what I'm saying? Or more, you would probably hear it more than you would choose to hear it. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the blacker side of our metroplex. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just, it doesn't matter if I was presenting it or anybody else.
Mm.
You would be able to understand whether you want to hear it or be referred to or whatever.
Mm.
You're gonna be able to communicate, right? Because you understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I know. I just don't see the point, personally. I just don't
Right
see the
on.
point. Because, like, I mean, like I said, like, it elicits so many different reactions from people that I don't see why we need to use it. Like, I would prefer to go back to like the 70s and just call you my brother and call Ashley my sister and move on. um,
True, but that's a human community more than I see it as
A black
black
connection.
community or
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, it's true. I hear you there. I hear you there. But
well, I mean, I think like I understand what you're saying, but like if you look into like that, like when people were what because it was a black thing. You didn't hear white people
no,
calling each
you're
other
right
brother
because
and sister. You heard
But they still used it. They still said it.
they said it referring to their family, not to like their friends.
I mean, I can't cite sites. I'd have to go and look. But in movies, there's always that I could think of in my mind. There's a character that's a white person who is usually dashiki clad, who is my brother. Like those people really existed.
Yes. So I
They
guess
still exist.
I
I
guess
mean,
so like the purpose of the word, and again, like I don't understand that either. Why do we need a word nobody else can use? Like
you great question.
I
That's,
mean like seriously, like why do we need a word no one else can use? It's not like I mean you don't hear Mexicans calling each other wetback. you know, like or spick. You don't hear them referring to each other that way. I mean there are it's like Spanish words, right? That white people use and black people use. And I don't feel like they get offended or up in arms about it. So I guess like my real question is why do we need a word that only we can use? What's the point to that?
I
Like
didn't say we need it. It's just it's there. It's here. I didn't create it. You know what I mean? But
no, I mean I'm not. I'm just saying like to that end like if the question is why do we need it? Why do we need a word no one else can use? And seemingly and like this is like in my research and like I've not seen anywhere anyone saying like why we need this word. Like I know like people why they like to use the word, justifications, pros, cons, but I haven't seen anything in my reading that's like this is why we have to have the word. And I feel like if there's no this is why we have to have it, then why can't we just let it go?
I feel
well,
like asking that question is like asking why do we need BSUs in universities?
What?
Black student unions. Why do we need safe spaces for Black people out in the world? Like, why not have a term that makes some Black people comfortable, like communicating with each other? Like, why not? Like, why not? Because you say that, okay, yes, they don't like other like people from Mexico don't necessarily use derogatory terms as terms of endearment in the same way to each other, but they still have their terms. They still
fucker.
have things
Hey,
that,
fucker. Yeah,
yeah,
fucker.
like they still have things that they say to each other that are cultural, that if someone who is not Mexican says would still be seen as offensive.
Oh, way.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I mean, I feel like it's needed because it's ours. Like like it's a safe space for, again, not everybody, because you don't like the word and you weren't raised with the word, but majority of people, I feel like in the Black community,
It's very pragmatic, just as a total offensive thing, and
Well, and I
my
think like for you, Joe, like you're saying like you use the word. I think for me, part of it is that like, and maybe that's part of my like the way I feel about it is that like if I say I'm not comfortable with the word and I don't want to use it, I get pushback from Black people.
oh well, I'm not
and that
encouraging
is
you
the
to use it.
problem. That's the
And
problem.
I'm like, that's like if I choose not to use it, then like why is that offensive to you? And so I feel like if I choose not to use it, then like my choice not to use that word or the fact that I feel that it's offensive excludes me from my Black culture. And how like is that fair to me?
No, and that nobody should be doing that, whether you choose to use the word or not.
Or not,
You know,
yeah.
I've never once, you know what I'm saying, mandated that Black people refer to me, call me,
Or
or
be comfortable with the use of,
yes,
yeah.
no, that's
I mean, that's unfair. Sorry about those experiences, but literally, like, that was the wrong person of color to make you feel guilty about your personal choice as a
right.
person of color to feel comfortable, like to feel whatever way you want to feel about the word, because
Yeah.
that's not fair. That's not the point of the word.
Well, and I've been
And
told that
see, I
about.
guess- so
Mal-
like for me like and I've been reading about this and there are other light-skinned Black people who have had the same experience, and it's this and we have this culture clash in the Black community, light skin versus dark skin.
Absolutely.
And um I feel like a lot of times like the use of that word is like leaves, is another way to leave part of the Black community behind. Like you're not Black enough. And I know that's not the intent, that's not the umbrella of it, but like at the same time, you have to consider how it affects the person that you're talking to, right? Because we're
So
talking
you,
about perception,
yeah.
you know, and I think if there's not a communal perception of the word, then maybe we need to move on. Is my theories was
That and that's a valid
how I
point,
come out of it, how I come at the word and the use of the
right?
word.
And that's a valid point. Like I say, I'm using it less and less. My personal community is not the same as it once was either. You know what I mean? So when I'm amongst my community of brothers that I think, you know, not even that I think that I know that's how we engage with each other.
Then you use
You
it
know,
more.
you'll definitely see me use it more. But you know, and Megan, you know this. I have a very diverse group of friends or
Oh yeah.
whatever. So depends on who I'm with, the vocabulary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, and you're absolutely right about. I've been told many a times, "Hey, you ain't black enough." And you know what I tell them? Well, show me, bro. Let's do it, cause you ain't gonna tell me how I'm gonna talk. You know, like if I just if you don't know me and I'm just not throwing it at you in reference to like Ashley, you know what I'm saying? We cool, we friendly, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know you, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So if I just came up to you and was just like referring to you in that way, or what have you, and you were like, hey, you don't know me like that, I'd be like, you know what? Cool, bet. I can appreciate that. But if I just refer to general people or you may not know or whatever, and I'm just using the word, you tell me you can't say that, I'm be like, I can and I will. You know what I'm saying? Sorry if that bothers you, but this this was not a conversation for you to be, you know what I'm saying, monitoring in the first place. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? If it was my conversation and you weren't in it and you told
Yeah.
me I couldn't use that word,
Oh
then I
yeah.
have a
No.
problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it wasn't if the
That's fair.
conversation wasn't directly involving you or
Mhm.
directed at you, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if I'm not black enough for you or not to use whatever word, but hey, guess what? I am black, and I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and you're gonna either need to accept that, or you know, we're gonna have to find out another way to handle this, because in that connotation, and it's like you said, Megan. There's so many different things that are dividing the community within the community. It's almost like religion. You know, you got Baptist and Seventh Day Adventist and all
Yeah.
this. Like you got light skin, you got Africa black, you got American black, you got Southern black, you got Midwestern black, you
Yeah.
got
Mm.
educated black, you got hood black. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, and the word is through all of those communities. Should one choose to use it?
Exactly. That's
Should
the
one choose to
unifying
use it?
thread,
You know what I'm
or
saying?
it should be.
Yeah, but if you don't choose to use it, and amongst your peers who do use it, you let it be known. Megan, I love you. I respect you. I do my best not to throw it around as much as I used to. Now I know you still hear me say it, but I do my. You can't say that when you first met me to this day that I have not
You
done my best.
definitely toned it down.
Yeah, and so you know, and that's respect for you. You know what I'm saying? And I care about your opinion and your feelings, and you know what I'm saying. If I'm having direct conversation or if I'm blessed to be at your home, you know what I'm saying. I will do my best to not allow myself to use those words in your home or in your presence. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm just out and about in the world and somebody was like, if they were respectful and say, hey, I just overheard that I'm not trying to be in your business. I'm not a fan of that word. You know, if you could, I would probably respect that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're coming at it the proper way. But in our community, we can be aggressive and forceful in our tones and interactions. And we also don't respond well to aggression and those type of direct tones and interactions.
Yeah.
I am one of those people who don't respond well to being told about stuff that does not concern said individual who has no business in my conversation. Uh,
And as the darkest Black person here,
mhm.
I mean, thinking about it from my perspective, as far as Megan, you saying that your experience has been more often than not with darker skinned Black people who had an offense with you not really wanting to be called or hear the word at all. As dark, and I mean, I'm not on the spectrum of being a very dark Black skinned woman,
Right.
but I still am Black, and my skin is pretty noticeably Black. And when you do have darker skin, you are pretty much conditioned. We touched on this a little bit in the hair episode a million years ago, but you're kind of conditioned to believe that if you are darker skinned, you are less than.
Mm.
And so, not to defend in any way, but thinking about what you hear as a darker skinned Black woman, to then meet a lighter skinned Black woman who is then like rejecting the term is confusing. So I'm sure like they probably felt a lot of feelings of, okay, well, you're Black, so now here's just one more thing. Like, are you like, and I can't put thoughts in their heads, but like, are you renouncing your Blackness because you don't want to use the word?
Yeah.
Like, I can't walk away from this. Like, I am dark. Like, it is my state of being. I didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice, but you are saying that you're a part of the Black community and you don't feel comfortable with the word. I think that that probably just confuses someone who, again, has been told their whole life that they are less than you because they are darker, because they don't have smooth, silky hair, because all these other things. And so that does turn the word into, I guess, more of a comfort that you can, or that they can talk to people within the community and share that camaraderie. And then to meet someone, I mean, I've never been in this position, and I would never tell someone that they were wrong or didn't have the right to feel the way they felt about the word. But just, I'm sure it probably felt a little triggering to hear someone who has the right to say, oh, well, I could use it, but it's just offensive to me and I choose not to. And I really don't like the word. Is the only thing that I can see from it as someone who is darker, because it's different.
Being light skinned for me, I like. I guess Megan, because you are lighter and you have you have nice hair. There you go. There you go. I was trying. I was trying. I was trying. I was trying. I know. But you do have a different texture, nicer, not nicer, nice hair. Um, that like for me, I was already, I don't want to say hated on, but separated. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm lighter skinned, I'm half and not, fully Black or what have you. Although many in our community are lighter versions or have history of uh, white or interracial, back in the gap somewhere, I'm sure. But it's just I I have one of my aunts and uncles. They are dark, dark charcoal Black. My mom's light, and I've got aunts that are even lighter than them, all same mother and father, and they can each tell you different experiences on how they're treated amongst the community about how their skin tone is, or some of them have different textures hair. I don't want to say hair is better here than over there. It's just different textures. There's different blends in our community. You know what I mean? And judgments. It, I've and it seems in our community there are so many judgments made just on appearance and skin tone is because we've been programmed that as a community to do that, you know, and like Ashley said, maybe choosing not to do that is just another misconstrued way of separating you even further, by individuals who took your, not wanting to engage and use that word as a bad thing or what have you, or you not embracing community or however they felt and whatever they did, which is not cool. But we look for things to hate on each other for certain. I
Oh,
don't,
absolutely.
but that may be human nature. But I don't see that so much in the white community,
Right.
Hispanic community, Asian community, but our community, oh, we will. Girl, he can't sing, or just, look, just many of things, and
Yeah, I guess, and so just like to bring us back, so like, I think for me, from that standpoint, I'm like, it's another thing that's othering in our community, whereas, you know, and so I guess that's like, for me, it's hard enough to be accepted in the Black community because I do have, you know, smooth hair with a little bit of curl in it, and I am light. It's very hard for me to be accepted in our community, um, at points in time. And so like this is for me, it's just another othering thing. It's another thing that separates me from my community. Whereas if it were really a community word, then it shouldn't have that effect.
exactly, I wholeheartedly agree. Because just because I use it, yeah, I feel accepted in most instances. But there's cases where it doesn't make a darn one way or the other. You know what I mean? I just use it in my vernacular to communicate with our people who communicate in that fashion. You know.
I feel like this has been a good talk.
Yeah.
Um, any final thoughts, Ashley?
No.
Yeah, Joe? Final words?
Just oh, sorry.
I said final words.
Yeah, no, just for me, I think as I get older and my circle changes or whatever, I have noticed the less usage by myself, and who knows, maybe one day it'll not be in my vocabulary at all, and you know that is
Say la vie.
not a good or a bad thing, just a thing,
I
you know.
think. Yeah.
Maybe one day I won't use it.
Yeah. Alrighty, cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Blackbird and our discussion of nigga and IGGA. I hope you guys learned something, got out of something. If like this is a great one for you to hit me up on Facebook or hit us up on comments down below, and we can totally continue this conversation. Our next video is going to be a wrap up. We're kind of going to talk about all of it together and what does it mean? Does it mean anything? um, so hopefully you'll join us next time. Till then, wash your hands and don't be a racist.